thanks for staying with us. So today we're discussing issues of weight loss, and many people complain, especially after childbirth, how they've developed bags in their tummy. So we have with us the CEO of Lee's Weight Watchers with us, Elizabeth Onyema. Welcome to the show.
Welcome.
Elizabeth, how are you doing?
You're very fine, very fine.
See, this kind of shows,
Yes.
I don't like it because we've had a few of them and they keep telling us what we already know, but we don't do. Okay. So it's really have to have the conversation of knowing and then doing. So to join the conversation, you can call us on 081-270-53687, or you can tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your TVC so we can read your tweets. Right, so thank you again for coming.
Thank you.
We love talking about health on Tuesdays because something that especially women is concerned about living well, living healthy, but still eating the food we love. So how do we, and I'd like you to focus on especially women who have given birth and are doing everything to get back in shape. What are the various steps you'd have us do and that we can sustain over time? Okay,
the first thing I'm going to say is I'm a mom. Yay! I have 3 kids myself.
Wow.
And my last 2 I had CS. And I wouldn't now, the good thing about this complete discussion is I'm not just going to be talking about some abstract experience. I experienced it myself. I'd always been an overweight child growing up. So you can imagine getting married at the age of 25, already weighing 75, 76 kgs.
Wow.
And then by the time the children started coming, I started packing on the weight and then the CS thing and all that. Obviously, I didn't like the way I looked. And yes, I was confused. I've been confused for a very long time about my weight. Now, the thing about it is, having gathered all the experience I've gathered, both from my schooling and then working hands-on with people, the very first challenge when it comes to weight loss, especially for women, is the first one is to believe that it is possible. There's just this thing in the heads of people where they just assume that once I've had kids, I'm not redeemable anymore. I can't get back to the way I was before the kids came. But that is not true. It just involves hard work. But next to believing that it is possible, the other challenge is, are you ready to change your behavior? So I could come and tell you right now that, hey, stop eating rice. Because obviously from the clinical aspect, I can tell you how rice is going to contribute to you gaining weight, gaining growing abdominal fat, and obviously not looking good. You understand me? But you as a person, are you ready to change? Are you ready to embrace this change and actually see it work on you? You're smiling. Am I wrong?
Because Nima says why
don't go to rice.
Because I'm not imagining that you know that chefing dish at the party and fried rice minding his business in one corner, the jollof rice.
You don't go to parties every day, do you?
Wait, are you saying that rice is not... Wait, let's be clear on what we're saying. So we already know eat fruits and vegetables, exercise, exactly. We know that one, but which one concerns rice in this matter?
Okay, so now we just talked about food, isn't it?
Yes.
For you to get fat, it means that there is something that you're eating that has caused it. Do you understand? Once you're able to know these foods, then you can now work with a purpose in mind. Now, I know that given the presence of Google, the internet, people can just pick up their phone and, you know, browse stuff and like that. There is this belief in some people that you can only lose weight the white way, that is, it has to be like, eat broccoli, eat cauliflower, you know. They forget that in Africa here, in Nigeria here, in your own native land, you can still be able to achieve weight loss eating the food that are normal to you.
Okay, let's start practicing.
Okay, I'm talking about rice.
No, not rice anymore.
Go back to rice. I'll go back to rice. Rice is a very important topic.
So I personally believe that an African woman should have some form of flesh.
Yes, I agree with
so that when the touching comes, you know, there's something to behold and to be held.
We agree with you.
Yeah, we agree. So for the longest part of my life, I've been very skinny.
I can tell.
And so after I had my 3rd baby, I blew up to a size 18. And it was difficult to come back. But I succeeded and I landed at 14 now. And I don't want to reduce more than this. Now, for those who are... I also noticed that my stomach now was not as flat as it used to be.
In fact.
And I am worried about it because I want it to go back. Are there certain things that I can still do to help me without losing weight, just take away my tummy?
Yes, there are. Now, the thing about it is that you said something about fats, about a woman should have a bit of flesh. I agree. And that's what we call essential body fat. So getting really skinny is not healthy, because the moment a woman goes very skinny, it actually can affect some of her fertility hormones.
Wow.
Yes. In fact, there was a point in time when I was more younger and I wanted, because my BMI says I should weigh between this and that, I wanted to get within my BMI, so I pushed myself. Obviously, I had all the skills, I had all the know-how, you understand me? But the problem came when my period stopped. And then I knew, yes, I didn't need anybody to tell me. I knew that, and I could tell. Because even at that point in time, my husband, my mom, my siblings were complaining because I was looking gaunt, you know. I had no cheeks anymore and all of that. Like, I know. And the moment I could tell that my period stopped, I knew that I had overdone it. Now, that is why it is important for a woman, not to, especially women of childbearing age, to be mindful about their, you know, about their chasing a particular look or trying to lose weight, be healthy. But most importantly, you said another thing again that I love so much. We have obesity generally. We have what we call the general obesity. And then we have what we call abdominal obesity. So there is a thing where a person is fat all over. And then there's a thing where a person may not be fat, but has a big tummy. Now, as a woman that has given birth to children before, let me just bust your bubble. It may be particularly very difficult
to get back
for you to achieve that slippers-like belly. And that is because you've stretched your skin. Now, see, the body, as humans, we gain fat in two ways. We have what we call the subcutaneous fat and visceral fat. Subcutaneous fat is that fat that we can grab with our hands. So you grab your cheeks, you know.
Your tummy.
These are our hair, Christian mother arms, the, what do you call it? Love handles at the back. That's subcutaneous fat. It hangs on our skeletal structure. Now, that particular subcutaneous fat is actually the most stubborn fat. Yes. So what you're experiencing now, the reason why you can't have that slipper, can I stand up?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Now, the reason why you can't get that slippers-like feeling anymore is because you have stretched your subcutaneous fat.
With pregnancy.
With pregnancy.
Wow.
And maybe not just one child, 2 children, 3 children, you know.
And the fourth one loading.
And the fourth one, oh, congratulations. She said your fourth one loading, you know. So you've stretched your skin. And because it is, look at it now, it can be, once you've stretched it, it can be hard for you to push it back to the way it was in its still intact state. So I'm sorry to burst your bubble. As a woman that has had children before, I have my mommy pouch. I call it my trophy. It is my trophy and I love it. And I don't have any plans to get rid of it. But there are people that might decide to go about it the cosmetic way of now going under the knife, doing the surgery.
Okay, Mara, let me let you jump in.
Like, so since we're talking about our abdomens now, some women would say that because of childbirth, the stretched muscle, DR, I'm sure you've heard of that.
That's recti, very important.
Yeah, so could you explain to women what that is and
yes,
how it can help them?
Yes, I will. Now, I was talking about the 2 types of fat. We talked about subcutaneous, we talked about visceral. In between, so everybody has a combination of both. You have both the subcutaneous and you have the visceral. But right in between the two, you have what we call the abdominus rectus, which is practically our abdominal muscles. So when you hear people saying 6 packs, that's what they're talking about. And it is like this. Just imagine your hands like this. It's like this. Locked in like this. This is how it should be. But some of us, by the time we now begin to carry children, maybe even before we had children, our abdominus rectus wasn't so strong. Maybe it had already started, you know, then the baby now comes and then, you know, pushing. Yeah, and all that. So what happens is some women, after having children, it is not closed. It is open.
So sad.
So the fat now comes through. So the one inside and the one outside now join.
God bless
Oh, that's
you.
what causes it. Oh, yikes.
So what happens at the end is, when you see her standing, she has this obvious bump as if she's still pregnant. What is going on is her abdominus rectus, or her rectus abdominus rectus, I like to say that way, has stretched. What is happening inside, plus the subcutaneous as the visceral fat.
I don't marry.
Now,
We don't join.
Hi, sister.
So how do we?
How do we? This one you created now is good.
So how do we solve the divorce between the doctors and the parents? How do we?
So now the thing about it is this. For you to be able to fight abdominal fat, the first step is to recognize the foods that trigger the growth
Let's go there. Let's go to the
fat. Sorry now, but you know, I've talked about subcutaneous fat as the stubborn fat that hangs on our skeletal structure.
Yeah.
I have said nothing about visceral fats. Now, of these two fats, the most evil one, the one that has the ability to make a person develop type 2 diabetes, that can make a person become hypertensive, that can make a person have high cholesterol issue, coronary heart diseases, IBS, and all sorts of nonsense that's connected to diet and lifestyle, is that one that is inside the visceral fat. Because the visceral fat grows around the organs. So I want to give you a visual now. I'm going to scare everybody out there, but please forgive me. I've always been somebody who's been known to spit out the truth. Just manage the situation. When you see a woman or a man flaunting an obviously bulging tummy,
It's money.
it's not money. That is the sign of ill health as far as I'm concerned. It is trouble for that person because that person is buying time. Just know that if that person did not have a rib cage, that fat you are seeing will start from here. Yes. So once you have a bulging stomach, do you think it's just because there's no bone here? It's just intestine. You have said the word. To stop it. To cage.
To cage it.
I love you. To cage it, because you're giving me the exact words. To cage it. So when you assume that you're having a bulging tummy, I think it's just your stomach. It's starting from here. Your heart is gathered with fats. Your liver is gathered with fats. Liver is not. Liver is here. Your kidneys, your lungs are swimming.
You're kidding me.
In fact, I'm not kidding you. I'm telling you the obvious truth.
That's what happened.
I'm telling you. So it is a scary situation.
So
that is why it is a sign of health. So now, how do we get rid of it? The thing about it is there are particular foods we eat that just generally makes your body store more fat inside your around your organs. So don't beat me, please. I come in peace.
Let's mention it. We're waiting for you.
Yeah, tell us because of time.
No, okay, good. White rice falls under that category.
Yes.
Bread falls, whether brown bread or white bread, it doesn't matter, falls under that category. Your beverages, and I'll tell you the good ones. Your beverages fall under that category.
Oh, I just had coffee. That's part of it.
Coffee causes belly fat. I'll tell you how. That's a different way. In a different way.
Oh, wow.
Your sugar, anything that has sugar, honey causes it. We also have gari. Let's go look.
Yeah, leave that one. Leave that one. Gary, leave that one.
Since I've been talking, a white man will still be able to understand.
Gary.
Let me not enter the African. Yes, because when we talk about processed foods, we tend to think that processed foods is just American foods. No. Amongst us here, we have processed foods.
Okay. Give us the fast.
So fufu,
I can leave that
gari, akamu, or pap.
You're kidding me.
Processed.
It's healthy.
They're processed.
now with the blend and mix and
No, not just blend and mix. In
preservative.
the process, no, it's not preservative.
Okay.
There is something that chaff removal, that process of removing the chaff from the food already has put that person in harm's way of growing abdominal fat.
Yes. Okay, I need you to fast forward to exactly what we can eat.
What we can eat, yeah.
Already, you can't eat gari, you can't take a
let's just be fasting.
No, don't fast. What are the things that we can eat? Please. Sweet potatoes, yam, pounded yam, plantain, plantain swallow. Did I mention semo? Semo is among the bad ones.
Yes.
In fact, did I also mention
that's why I'm so slim.
That is actually causing not just abdominal fat, but a rise in blood sugar levels and all that. Wheat.
Okay.
Wheat. Whether you go to the market and buy it and blend it yourself, run.
My mom, I also
Spaghetti, Am I saying the right thing?
The brand
wrong.
Yes.
God
Noodles,
bless you.
pasta.
Noodles, pasta, run. Because they are all made from wheat. If I start the story of wheat today, people will not leave me alone.
Jesus.
That one is another thing entirely. If I start the story on wheat, something else. So avoid all these things. Eat foods that come in their natural form with nothing removed and taken from them. What I'm trying to say in essence is, despite the fact that fufu is bad, eating abacha is good.
Because it's in the natural form.
Because it's a natural form, it is complete. It's a whole food. It still has its
But
fiber.
rice is rice is a staple. We all eat
If you
rice.
want to eat rice, if you have to eat rice, if you're not overweight, if you're not trying to fight abdominal fat, if you don't have blood pressure issues and other health issues, just quietly go for the local unpolished rice. There is actually, on my page, I talked extensively about rice at the end of last month.
Madam, I can almost bet you've never tasted basmati rice. I'm sure you've never tasted it.
The funniest thing is that I've had some diabetic clients who come to me and tell me I'm always eating basmati rice.
Yeah.
And when I break it down to them, they are terrified at the amount of sugar. Do you know that just 3 tablespoons of white rice has roughly 7 cubes of sugar?
Yes.
Can you do that to yourself? Like with this knowledge now that I've just told you.
I mean,
You
baby
settle
sugar.
down. Put 7 cubes in like a small amount of water, 3 tablespoons of water, and drink it. Will you do that to yourself?
You can use it to drink
Sure, you
garri.
can eat beans.
Just mention,
Garri.
you mentioned beans, all the beans.
This is
And in
good.
Nigeria, we have different kind of legumes. Have you heard of fiofio? It's called pigeon peas. Have you heard of
That's what we call Ilene.
Oh, Lede, you're
Ilene,
Edo.
Ilene, Ilene.
Yes, I'm Edo
Amazing,
too.
but it takes time to
yes, it takes time to cook, but with pressure pots you can. Green peas. Yeah.
Ew, green peas.
Yes, yeah, green peas. Green peas is actually, it's not, we see it with the eyes of putting it in your fried rice. No, it's a meal. It's a pea on its own.
What about
As they are
fries?
scooping it.
A lot of people like fries.
What we used to
French
eat that
fries.
Yeah, you fry your
plantain.
even
Yeah,
your
and
yam
I
and
like
potatoes, you
plantain
fry
chips.
it.
Even as old as we are, you can accommodate fries for children. Don't make me go into the way they make oils. You're going to shout. There is this particular chemical they call N-hexane that if they drop it on this wood, it will produce oil. That is to produce oil out of anything. Yes. So when you're talking about the quality of food you eat, when it comes to abdominal fat in general, it has a lot to do with your calorie quality. You'll be hearing count calories, count calories, count calories. Yeah, I know count calories, but there's a reason why I can eat 1,000 grams of broccoli and not add weight. But you will take 1 bottle of Coke that has equal calories and you're gaining weight.
Yeah, and not just the weight
I'm
also
so
that
sorry,
you
forgive
feel.
me. Fizzy drinks, you know, you can take a bottle of fizzy drink and you're gaining
Auntie,
weight.
wait, let me tell you something. When you take all these
So it's not
vegetables,
just- okay.
you eat them,
Yes.
broccoli, cauliflower, everything.
No, I'm just
It's not
giving an
feeling
instance.
now.
Let me explain.
In this Lagos sun.
When you talk about good carbs or you talk about complex carbs, that's where our plantain, nutrient-dense food, she's wording it. No wonder we are
Look here.
I should be I'm sorry.
Look here.
Do you understand? Focus
Just like
on nutrient-dense foods. Nutrient-dense foods discourage the growth of visceral fats. They remove all those things that are growing around our organs. And then the only way, they discourage the fat from growing. And then you now have to now take up the challenge of exercising. When I tell people about abdominal fat, the first thing they're thinking is, hey, I will start crunching, doing leg raises. So when you crunch and do leg raises, you're only strengthening your abdominus rectus. Talking about diastasis recti now. We're only strengthening it. That's what you're doing.
You're not burning the fat.
You're not burning any fat. Even if muscle does help to burn fat, but there's still a lot of work to do. So what are the best exercises to burn abdominal fat? Very easy exercises like walking.
That's all.
I'm not lying to you. I walked 32 kgs off my body.
You're kidding
I
me.
used to have 45 inches. I wouldn't be able to buckle my shoes myself.
For real?
Yes. Walking. And how long are you expected to walk? 1 hour a day.
That's all.
I'm telling that's just 4% of your entire day.
And tell this
tell
girl, this
me,
your
I
mouth
need to
is
start
too
walking.
sweet.
But
The one person-
But I have a friend that walks that still has abdominal.
It's not that easy.
Because she's
eating.
eating nonsense.
Auntie.
Yes, that is where the problem comes in. She exercises
And then
burns the fat.
loads it up.
Then goes back to the kitchen
who is
and messes it up.
We have a
She will
friend.
now go back and eat white rice,
That white rice,
Salad
it will take
and cream.
The Spirit of
the
God.
Spirit of God to give, because I have delivered myself from bread. I've delivered myself from soft drinks.
Congratulations.
I've
I like
delivered
that.
myself from a few other things. But that rice,
Mariah,
I don't know.
Mariah, for that rice, you need exorcism.
It's not an issue. It is for you to know
Understand,
the
knowledge.
depth. God bless
I can
you.
see
The
now that I
difference
have that
between
knowledge.
me and a person who will still say, I can't do without rice, is the person that never had a health challenge that was connected to rice. At my heavy years, I was pre-diabetic. And diabetes runs in my family. So prior to my ignorance, I felt, well, they have it in my family, so me. But by the time I now had to change my life and went to school, I realized that rice is one of the culprits. Nobody advised me. I looked at my kids and said, I'm going to be with you for a while, God willing. And I chose to say no. It was my choice. And I'm better for it today. Do you understand?
Because
at my heaviest, I had sleep apnea. A condition where a person is sleeping at night and she stops breathing.
Yeah.
What? They have to, what are you saying? No, see, they'll wake you. Wake up. Is this someone like me? You put rice here. I'm a look at you. I'm like, no, I'm not
so
going
you go
down
to
that
party
route
and be
again.
selecting. I have a
Yeah, so when I go to
younger
parties,
sister who
That's
yes.
not a party. Well, what do you do at party? Because that
When
party
I
is
go
very
to
difficult.
parties, thanks be to God for the Nigerian variety that we have when we go for our parties. We have moi. Eat it. You have the grilled fish sometimes served there. Eat it. You eat pepper soup.
What kind of salad they have in parties? Like vegetable ice cream.
No,
they
you
have
don't
all
have
so
to eat
creamy
salads.
and everything.
No, the truth about it is that you don't have to eat salads. And one of the things I always tell my clients is people tend to look at food. You know, another problem with us is it is the way we see food. If I were to ask you, why do you like to eat?
Oh, I love food, honey.
Why? Why do you love food?
I love food.
It gives you joy.
It gives me joy. Honestly,
Do you know
food and good food.
Yes.
I love to go to a dining place.
I pass Abattoir and I see those shaded tomatoes, onions. I feel like I'm alive.
This one doesn't affect me. It's the one I got to go to restaurants. So people like me that I'm a foodie. I mean, I really love food.
Too.
No, you're not a foodie.
No, I am.
Auntie, you're not a foodie.
Honest, let me tell you something. That pounded yam was like a staple. It's still a staple in my life because I'm an Edo girl.
Hey,
it's still an Edo girl.
So it's good. Pounded yam is good.
Yes, it is good because you're not removing anything from the yam.
Not adding anything, it's
you're
natural.
Not adding anything, it's natural. It's filled with nutrients.
But we don't beat
Do you know,
yam
ma?
Wait,
That's it. I don't have a yam pounder. I tell my clients that, I use the pounding as a means to burn more calories so that I pound, girl. I'm an Edo girl. So you can tell me not to pound yam.
Pounding.
Do you understand? You
You
walk
grow
up your
like a
arms.
boy's arm. I don't want it.
Okay, we are ahead. We're closing the show.
Okay.
Auntie, we'll bring you back.
Please do. I'll be happy to come back.
We need a full 1 hour with you.
I am
We need to
ready.
really understand
Come and break
this
our
thing.
hearts.
It will be good to have you.
Please
because-
ensure that when you're bringing me or when I'm coming next, I need a blackboard.
Yes,
I need a blackboard. There's some
Okay.
tools, there's some things I'll come with. It really needs to be.
Sure.
It is important that we do this because people are dying. People are carrying a pouch. People even assume.
Go ahead.
People even assume that weight gain, but it's only people that are fat that needs this knowledge. No.
Yep. Yeah.
People think when they see you that you're fat, they'll just say, this one likes to eat too much. No, they are skinny people that look thin on the outside, but they are fat inside. They are called toughies. Yes.
They're called what?
Toughies. Thin outside, fat inside.
Wow.
Are you talking to
T-O-F-I.
somebody that
So inside they have fat, but their cage have covered it, so they think they're
God
skinny.
bless you, yes.
Oh, jibi.
So when you see them, their capacity to carry subcutaneous fat is very little. But their capacity to carry visceral fat is massive.
Hey,
How do you
Holy
tell?
Spirit.
How can you
The
tell?
first sign is, as a woman, once you notice that your waist inch is moving above 35 inches, begin to work on yourself. That is a sign.
I have to.
Because
Any
above
woman.
35, yes, any woman, above 35 inches means that you wear a top like this and your belly will pop. That it will begin to pop. If you don't work on it immediately, now so it will just
They go.
I just said my producer, hey.
Okay. Says, at times it's better you don't know some things.
It's good to
Your
know.
guests just they scare us. I want to report it now. In Nigeria, we don't have
Nice
variety.
again.
I'm not skeleton because I want to lose weight.
Papa says, you see, say, please help us ask our auntie in the studio if it is okay to eat a bit of rice with plenty vegetables.
Now, people tend to assume that when you eat rice and vegetables, that your body processes them together. They are different. They're different classes of food. So your body will process that rice first, while your vegetable will take a longer time to process. So while it is processing that rice, it will break it down. You know, carbohydrates break down from the mouth. Moment saliva, I touch it. And like I said, you need to bring me back. I need to explain the 3 parts of a carbohydrate. Starch,
Okay,
fiber.
we'll bring you back. But
So you
auntie,
need to
wait,
understand
auntie,
this.
wait.
So
wait,
no.
we have to run.
Yes.
So we should not eat rice, yeah? In
My
milk tea.
advice to you, like I said, is go for the local rice if you have to.
Yes, sir.
And try your best not to eat only rice. So this thing of everyday rice in Nigerian homes is irritating, it's wrong.
Okay, we'll bring you back because she needs to tell us what we should be eating.
Yam, potatoes.
My dear, every day.
Yes, she did.
Plantain.
But not just
Auntie, there's breakfast.
Yam, potatoes.
You can say something quickly because Nigerians have this thing. When you say, okay, you can eat plantain, so it becomes plantain in the morning, afternoon, night, and every other day. So
it's okay.
But it's still okay.
No, but the truth about it is that you cannot eat plantain. Plantain is a heavy food, especially when you're going for the unripe or semi-ripe ones, which are the healthier or better options. So, like I said, semi-ripe. Semi-ripe is sweet.
We run out of time. Auntie, we run out of time.
We'll bring you back.
I'm spending 1 hour with you.
I'm telling you.
That's all we can take.
Happy with you.
Yeah, thank you.
See you tomorrow.
All right.
Bye-bye, rice.
Bye.